Halloween's coming. Are you ready to show your glorious purpose? Well, join me today as we print Loki's headpiece. See you guys inside. Hey guys, welcome to today's video. As I said, we're getting closer to Halloween, and one of the top shows this year was Loki. And even I was extremely interested in the show. I thought it was a very good setup for what we're going to see in coming Marvel. But one of the things that also I wanted to do this year was quick, simple prints for Halloween. And this one that I'm going to show you today was very simple, very quick. I printed this in 2.5 days in 4 pieces. I used a CR10. Now, unfortunately for me, I made it a little bit too small and it don't fit my head. But you'll see Megan come onto the channel here into the video later, and she will model this one for us. But all in all, it came out great. This is Duramec silver, or this is gold silk PLA Plus from Duramec. So really great material. I've really enjoyed the color that's coming out of this. You guys can see the shine. I haven't even really sanded or cleaned this up yet. This is straight off the printer. Glued this together and boom, here we go. We've got our crown. There is some sanding I want to do, and one cool trick, if you're sanding a colored PLA and you're really disappointed that the color doesn't come back, hit it with a heat gun. 9 times out of 10, that color will pop back out. So that's one cool thing about working with color. And this gold just, it shines, it looks good. It really makes me think of the crown. You guys will see a video coming up about me talking about Duramec PLA in a couple weeks, because I'm using several different colors, including their silk material, and I want to talk about those and talk about prices and different things like that. But that's coming up in the future. Today we're going to talk about this. We're going to go to the slicer. We're going to get this guy sliced. We're going to get it back on a CR10 V2, which is what I used to print this one. And then we'll get it modeled for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy, because with Halloween coming, it's a great way to save money on kids or your own Halloween costumes. Make the components yourself, or if you're just wanting to do cosplay, here's a great way to do it. Simple print, a little bit of super glue, boom, we're done. We're ready to go. So that's just kind of one of the things, just like the helmets and the shield behind me. It's all stuff you can make yourself and not have to pay an enormous amount on Etsy or somewhere else to buy it pre-made. And you get, there's one thing about this that's very important, that I find very important, is I made it myself. There's a little bit of extra pride in this, whether someone bashes it or not. You know what? I made this. I'm proud of it. So kind of keep that in mind, especially with the 3D printing mentality. It does give you that as you get into 3D printing. So before we head over to the computer and get this thing sliced into Cura, if you're new to the channel, or if you like what you're seeing today, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join the crew. Everybody matters, so go ahead and join us. If you're interested in 3D printing or learning anything about it, this is the place to be. This is what we do. So if you have any questions, comments, or just curious about 3D printing, put those comments down below. Let me know, and we will talk about it. Because there's one comment I got the other day, I got to just say, you know, they were having a bad day, they were having a problem, and they watched one of my videos and it just made their day better. You know, leaving a comment like that, man, that really helped. I do appreciate that. So let's hop over to that computer. Make sure you share as well. Get this video out there to more people. So let's hop over to this computer. Let's get this thing sliced and get that back on the printer so you guys can see this thing being made. All right, guys, so here's the file that we're using today. So all credit to the maker of Crixos. So this file, I said earlier it was 4 pieces. It was actually 6. There are 4 main pieces that you see, and then there's actually 2 pin pieces, and we're going to talk about those in a little bit. But basically this is a very simplistic model, a very popular model, and it breaks down into very simple pieces, especially the horns. The horns are kind of the difficult part, but when they're assembled, you have the full helm, which is what we're after today. So there's the link. The link will also be down in the description for anybody that's curious to go get this one and give it a shot. Again, we're using Duramec 3D PLA Plus Silk Gold. Now, I really like this Silk Gold. I've used the inland one, and it's very rare that I find a filament that beats inland. But I love the color on this one. It just kind of beat, inland kind of has a more cartoonish look to it. It is very shine, more bright, gold. This one very much has the Iron Man gold that I was kind of seeking for this one. So I know this one's more of a dinge color, but I just love the gold. It just looks great. I would even love seeing this one in silver. It just kind of seems great. Now, one thing I am having a problem with, guys, is I've got a spool of silk copper. So give me a suggestion of what to print with that, because I'm just kind of struggling. Oh, thanks, Steam. I'm kind of struggling to print something with that copper color. So if you got a suggestion, leave it down in the comments down below. But let's move on to Cura. So we're going to launch Cura. We're going to make sure we're on the right printer, not my CR10 Max. And we're going to start. So here are the files. So your crown, the front piece, the horn, the joints, and there is a actual full model. So, but we're going to do it in pieces because, yeah. So I'm going to pull that off to the side. And the first thing we're going to touch is the crown, the biggest piece. Now, you guys can see that's huge. And unfortunately for me, at 100%, it was not wide enough. So probably what I should have done is done this up to maybe 125, and it probably would have fit me fine. The 100% fit Megan very fine, which probably fit any kid fine at 100%. But how did I do this? Because looking at the way that loaded, that's a big negatory right there. So I flipped it because I wanted few supports as possible. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't add supports, because you guys can see there's a lot of red right there. So one thing I like to do, especially with helmets, I go for the custom supports. I do the round, a size 5 with a 7.5 base. And I come in here and I give it some structural help. Because Cura's not gonna build that. It sees that it needs support and it'll give it support. But I've just kind of found custom supporting helps out. It may use a little bit more PLA, but you know what? I would rather use a little bit of PLA, because honestly, these custom supports pop off way easier than standard supports. Just way easier. I found that they pop off. And there's going to be some supporting needed here. You guys can see the red right there. But I'll let the auto generate do that. So, and what's cool about it is when I do that, and I come down here to supports, I tend to leave it at 80% because I've custom supported it enough that it should be fine. And this should build up with no issue because you're not seeing any red here, so there's no need for supports. I am currently running Cura 4.10. I need to update to 4.11, but I usually give it a month or two before I update. I have been experimenting with Simplified 3D as well, which is a paid-for slicer that offers some very awesome tools. So if you guys are curious to see me slice these in that one as well, let me know down in the comments down below. And support, I'm going to leave that, I'm going to kick that up to 80%, which is pretty much your minimum level for support. So we're going to kick that up to 80. I'm going to use a raft just to give it better plate adhesion, because I got all these little pegs. I want to make sure they stick. And the way I've set them, they should form a ring, which also when it comes time to pull off, it gives me a little bit of leverage. 5 is perfect for this. We don't need a lot more adhesion because it's going around. Let's see here. Print temperature, Duramec. Duramec, I have learned, especially with the silk, I ran it at 220. My default is anywhere between 210 and 215 for inland, but Duramec I've found I need to print it a little hotter. So 220 is a good temperature for Duramec. Now, while Duramec is a great filament, the only thing I don't like about Duramec is the price point. A spool of Duramec PLA is usually around $30, which is almost double, closing in on almost double what I pay for an inland spool. So of the inland white that I use. So layer height, I'm doing 0.15. Make sure you got your retraction on so you don't have stringing and stuff like that. I'm doing quite a few walls. It just gives it more strength. That way I can do less infill. I'm only doing 5% infill because I want this to be light. It's going to be sitting on my head and those horns. I don't want my head bent over from the horns. So kind of one of those things that's kind of good to keep in mind. Let's see here. So that's just the helm. Print speed is at 50, infill speed is 84. Yeah, it's infill. I I don't have enable jerk done. Retraction. So I do like retraction. And this is a setting you got to play with, especially if you're getting a bunch of stringing. Retraction is very helpful at stopping that issue. So enable retraction, checked. My retraction distance that I've found that works for me is 6.5. It depends on your printer. So you got to play with this setting a little bit. And there are towers that you can get and do that. And then I do Z-hop when retracted. So if I'm moving, if I've got more parts, I want it to lift up, move over, and come back down. And I want it to Z-hop over every part, not just over printed parts, because that's a good way to knock a support over. So cooling is all standard. And then we're back down to generate support. So that's my settings. So that's how I did the crown. So we're going to go in here and we're going to clear the build plate. Boop, gone. Now we got the other pieces. So we got the front, and then we got the left horn, and we got the right horn. And I did these all at the same time. Then I've got joints, which you need 2 of these, and it's on there. So, and that's that cube. So what did I learn about the horns? Here's what I'm going to show you. I rotated it straight, and then I rotated it like that. That's how I printed the horns. I found I had better control printing the horns like this. I was able to keep better plate adhesion, and I was able to, achieve what I was after achieving, which is the key piece here. I'm going to pull this guy forward. I didn't really do anything with him. I got 2 horns on here. Now the joints I'm going to talk about, so I'm going to pull them forward too. And we'll talk about custom supporting here in a few minutes. Let's get you turned a little bit so I can squeeze you together. Squeeze. There we go. We'll scoot you back. Now, I just screwed that up. We'll pop that back to 0 to get you back on the build plate. So these guys, I'm going to talk about these for a little bit. Joints are always kind of pesky, especially if your printer's not really in a good alignment. So what I would say, if your flow and your E-step is not right, if you haven't calibrated it, that's okay. But what I usually do with joint pieces, I knock them down at least 2%. So I'm going to print these at 98% their size so that they at least fit together. They may not be as snug. Whoops, I'm on the wrong thing. But they fit together. And then I can use a filler or a glue to make them tight. Because what these are, they're just alignment pins really. They're to help it stick together. Then looking at this piece, not a lot we have to do there. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that alignment pin because it's built in. So now, the horns. We come back to my friend custom supports. I did do a custom support here and a custom support here. And then when it came to these guys, I just did a few. One, it's extending my raft a little bit, which is helping my plate adhesion. It's helping keep this on the plate. Because as we go up, there is a chance of it getting knocked off the plate, and we don't want that happening. But I'm just kind of picking this edge, and I'm just giving it some extra support so it builds out that raft a little bit more and gives me that better plate adhesion. I did a 5 raft here as well, and that's how I printed. So hopefully you guys enjoy learning how I did this, looking at my settings, so that you guys can hopefully replicate it within your setting norms as well to kind of see and maybe improve your prints by seeing some of the settings I've adjusted. So if you guys find this useful, let me know down below that you actually like this part, or do you want me to just get to the time lapses and music? So just let me know, but we're going to hop over to the printer. We're going to see these pieces printed and listen to some cool music. You'll see Meg pop on with the helmet on and do a spin for us, and then I'll catch up with you guys at the end. All right, guys, that's it. Pretty simple, quick, 2-day print. Or I think it was maybe up to a 3-day. We did have a fail in the process. The horn alignment was very difficult to do in the beginning to figure out how to get these guys to go. But go back to the Cura portion. I showed you exactly how I did it to get this to actually hold onto the build plate. So all in all, it's fun. You know, take this, what, a green cape and a brown shirt, and you could probably pass as a Loki. So, you know, very simple, very easy thing to do, and a neat way to start stepping up your costume design and get that uniqueness that you're after. And again, if you enjoyed what you saw today, hit that subscribe button. Share the video out to anybody you know enjoys Loki or 3D printing or making stuff themselves. This is an awesome thing to see. So thank you guys. Hope to see you in the next video. Talk to you next time.